Today's episode of Why Music Matters is sponsored by Buffalo Spree magazine. From the start, Buffalo Spree has been a champion of Western New York's arts community, with every issue showcasing the best of Western New York. What's on stage, on view, in the clubs, and in the concert halls. Pick up the latest issue to get a closer look, or visit buffalospree.com.
Something in me just kept telling me, yo, take a leap of faith.
Yeah.
And when I left, it was like, all right, now what am I doing? What's my next step? And then, the 2 days later, that's when Conway reached out. It was like, man, that was really like a leap of faith that I had to take, and, kind of trusting God and, getting me to my next step. Because one thing that I've learned is that, with being uncomfortable, that's when you grow.
And we on papers today. Smoking paper. Big Esco. TCS Esco. Big Esco. First, look. Givenchy rock Wallace my sweater.
On my sweater, boy.
Givenchy rock Wallace my sweater.
I'm so clever, boy.
Givenchy rock Wallace my sweater.
Hey there, music lovers. Welcome to Why Music Matters, a podcast where we examine the power and influence that music can wield in our lives. I'm your host, Jeff Miers. Today on the podcast, I'm psyched to welcome a cutting-edge artist whose work represents a major step forward for Buffalo hip-hop in particular, and contemporary national hip-hop in general. Jae Skeese grew up in Buffalo, and from the get-go, he displayed an indelible talent for the authentic, gritty realism and deft, poetic rhymes that are fast becoming a hallmark of our region's sound. For the past decade, he's worked tirelessly to hone his craft over the course of several albums and collaborations that brought him to the attention of the folks behind Buffalo's Griselda Records. In particular, the renowned rapper and Griselda co-founder, Conway. Jae's refusal to give up on his dreams and his unflagging work ethic ultimately earned him a slot as the first signing to Conway's recent record label venture, the Drumwork Music Group. Jae just dropped his latest effort, his 8th mixtape overall, in the form of Ground Level, which undergroundhiphop.com called a testament to Jae Skeese's evolution as an artist, blending raw emotion and storytelling with cutting-edge production. Now Jae is taking Ground Level on the road, beginning with his first show as a headliner in his hometown at the Rec Room in Buffalo on Thursday, November 14th. He'll also be headlining at the legendary Mercury Lounge in New York City on Wednesday, November 20th. Welcome to Why Music Matters, Jae Skeese. Well, everybody, welcome to Why Music Matters. I'm real honored today to have Jae Skeese here, representing Buffalo hip-hop, about to explode in a big way, celebrate the release of your new record, Ground Level.
Yes, sir.
And just talk about your life and why music matters to you, what it's done for you. And I wanted to start by, you don't have to go through your whole origin story, man, because I bet you've been doing it all week. But, for me and for people listening here in Buffalo, I feel like they should know you. Yeah. You're about to do your first headline show here, Thursday the 14th at the Rec Room. We'll give all the ticket information about that in the podcast too. But, I want to know how you came up, how you got these first steps, let's say up until you left for Syracuse for a little while.
Yeah. So, man, starting out, I had like my real good friends. It's actually crazy because my man Scoop, he's actually one of the openers for this show that we were just talking about,
amazing.
that you just mentioned on Thursday. But he was like my best friend growing up, and lived right across the street. I lived at 56, he lived at 65, and him and his cousin Peasy, they were always rapping because they had some uncles that rapped, and they had a studio. They had like a local like record label called Starving Records. And so they were always rapping, and so I would always go over there to their house. They would record on the karaoke machine and things of that nature. And I would always be over there. I would beatbox, and they would rap over me beatboxing, and then it turned into, one day, hey, you go home, go write some raps.
Yeah.
And then, I went home and wrote my first couple lines, and they're like, yo, that's dope. And so we kind of came together and just kind of formed a group. And we ended up getting in the studio with their uncles and, cut our first demo, and kind of, the rest is history. 'Cause that's how I learned how to write songs and how to really structure my bars and things of that nature. And then from there, the engineer and producer from that record label, he ended up moving to Atlanta. And so from there, it was like, I was just battling and, still writing and just recording when I could.
Yeah.
And, I got to be about 16, and that's when I met Camouflage Monk. If you're familiar with him, or G5GI, he used to go as through my man Esco.
Who you mentioned a lot. Like every time you shout out.
Yeah, I got to shout out the homies, but met him, and I was recording with him in like downtown. He used to live on Watson Street, and I would record with him at his parents' house. And recorded, some early freestyles and some of the joints that was from me and Esco's first mixtape. It was called Highly Anticipated, so I recorded a lot of that music there. They had like a record label called like ULD, and I was down with them for a minute. They had put out like a couple projects, and I was featured on those. This was going back to like 05, 06, 07. And kind of from there, once I got to be 18, 19, me and a few of the homies, we had moved out. We got like an apartment. It was like a 4-bedroom apartment. And I got, some recording equipment of my own. And we would throw like house parties every day. And I would be like the one person just in my room. I would never party. Well, I would still have fun. I would still party, but I was more so just really focused on the grind and really focused on getting better and recording myself and doing some engineering and just going off what I heard, because I didn't really have anybody to learn from. And so from there, that was pretty much what I was doing, putting out songs and doing shows like here locally, opening up for other artists. Like we opened up for Schoolboy Q and Absol at one point down at Sound Lab when that was still a thing.
Miss it.
Broadway Joe's. I did my first couple shows there at Broadway Joe's, like as Jae Skeese with the group First Class, which was cool.
Were they still doing baby steps there? You remember that?
So I wasn't into it. I didn't know about Broadway Joe's when they were doing baby steps, but I still was like, I was around for it, but I just wasn't hip to it. You know what I'm saying? But a lot of the people that I know, like in the Buffalo hip hop scene that were a part of it, they like tell me about it. I just didn't really know about it because I was like a lot younger than them. Like I was probably 13, 14 when that was like a real thing.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Not even that old really, because this was like 99, 2000, 01. So like I'm like
that's for old
11,
heads like
12,
me,
13.
man.
Yeah, I'm real super young. I couldn't even think about getting in the club back then. But a lot of people, like I said, that I know now that are like, they represent Buffalo hip hop, or like that older generation, like they were all a part of it for
Definitely.
sure. But yeah, and so up until, I moved to Syracuse, like I was doing, the local shows. I was doing my own ciphers here in the town, at the place where I worked at. It was like a sneaker store called Villa. The business is known as DTLR now. Yeah. But I was doing like the ciphers there. Me and DJ Gus, we would invite like the whole town out to come and rap, and we would just pass the microphone around, and everybody, show off their skills, and it would be a crowd there. It would be, super dope. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? That was up until when I moved to Syracuse.
So during that time, one thing I want people to know, if they don't know, is that, you're not some overnight thing here, man. You use the word grinding, and that seems appropriate. That really represents a lot of Buffalo to me, is that we just don't give up. Yeah. And I know, you're moving to Syracuse, maybe did you leave because you felt you'd exhausted it here for that time, or?
It was
what was going on? What's going through
yeah,
your head?
it was like a few things because it felt like, I had been putting out music, doing shows, and it was just like the support here just really wasn't there. It was like I would do shows and I would be performing for the same 10 people I did a show for the previous month. And then, if I had CDs, it was hard to sell 100 CDs for, $10.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I got so frustrated with it. It was like, I'm already working in this sneaker store. I'm already, at the highest level in the store. It's like, man, maybe this isn't gonna pan out the way that I originally saw music panning out for me. So maybe I need to look at some other options as far as a career. And so I said, well, I can go to Syracuse and kind of climb that corporate ladder.
Yeah.
So I said, you know what, I'm gonna see what that's about. But even when I moved, I still was doing music.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean?
You can't get away from it.
Yeah, you can't kick it. Like when you got a real love for it. Like I enjoy just, writing words and lyrics and finding ways to make words rhyme. So that's something that I've always loved. Like, you know what I mean? I started out before I even made music, I used to write short stories when I was a kid. So that was just always my thing.
Makes sense.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah. So like I was like, man, I thought I was giving up on it. I thought I was gonna, take my time and, say forget it for now, but it never happened.
Yeah.
It never happened.
I'm glad it didn't, man.
Yeah, right.
But that perseverance, and what about Buffalo? And, if you think this question is too general, you don't want to touch it, you just tell me. Be quiet,
No, that's cool.
But part of what I'm not from here, but I moved here in 1990 to join the music scene, and I never left. Yeah. Okay. This is home now.
Yeah, for real.
But part of what always struck me here is the amount of talent was off the charts, crazy for a city of our size. Mm-hmm. But how do we unite it, man? And how I feel like it's just never been united, like in the way that it really could be, where you got people from all over coming together, knowing about where hip hop shows are, knowing about, where maybe new hybrids of music with people who play different genres coming together, you know what I mean? So that we all lift up.
Yeah.
And that's always been a problem here. I mean, is that what you were feeling? And do you have any insight on, I think it's starting to change, but how it might continue to change?
I think just and this is in my experience, I think, because that is something that I've definitely experienced and seen over the years. I think there are like certain festivals that are starting to bring together everybody. Like, you got Boflo and you got Boflo and you have like music is art.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And I think as long as we can continue to support those type of festivals where it kind of brings people together and then also brings awareness to, the different talents that are around the city. I think if we can continue to do that, I think that's where we're going to start to see, the city kind of come together.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And more of those events, because I mean, even like during the summer, I think they have like, what is it called? Like Porch Fest or
Porch
something
Fest.
like that.
And you will see all kinds. You'll see hip hop.
Yeah, you'll see
rappers,
everything at those different,
rockers,
those different festivals and different.
And that's
events.
us. We are that,
Yeah, for sure. And I think it's just, bringing people together in that way. Because there was for a long time, like when I first was coming up, there was always that stigma of if you were from Buffalo, you couldn't be good at anything.
Right, no.
If it wasn't sports.
That's
you know
right.
what I'm saying?
And
like,
even then.
Yeah, even then, you know what I mean? Like you just couldn't be from Buffalo and be a good rapper, or you couldn't be from Buffalo and be a good R&B singer. You know what I'm saying? Which is odd because I don't really understand why. But I think part of it was because we never had anybody that, took it, to the mainstream level or to a national level.
Now we do.
Now we do. So it's like, now that we have like the reputation of, putting out artists that are, can go national and go tour and things of that nature. I think now is the time to start really getting in behind what we have going on here because, it's obviously we have results that this actually works. You know what I'm saying? So I think it's just between changing people's mindsets and then the things that are already in place, like the events and festivals that are already in place, is, continuing to go there and support.
Do you think, the answer is probably yes, but I'd like to hear from you. Did like West Side, Benny, Conway, did this change in a way that you really notice what it means to be a Buffalo rapper and in the way that we're seen and treated out there?
I think you mean like seeing them the way
Respect,
like I think they went out and got it for us.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like when I go certain places, like I just was telling you, I went to Chicago a couple weeks ago for West Side Guns, Hills Have Eyes 3. Him and Smoke Diz, I should say. But when I pulled up there, man, it was like, oh, yo, this is Jae Skeese. Like, you know, yo, I need to get you a picture. Yo, I need to get an interview with you. Yo, can I find a way to link up with you? What's your Instagram? You know what I mean? So that came over time, though.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because, you know, they went out and they kind of set the precedent of, yo, this is the caliber of MC that comes out of Buffalo. And then I had to kind of follow that up.
That's right.
You know what I mean? Like with, you know, some of the features that I've done and then just some of my own solo work, you know what I'm saying, over these last few years. So they definitely knocked down the door and kind of let people know what time it was. And then, you know, like I said, I felt like for me, I had to follow that up with a certain energy to kind of, you know, still they laid the foundation, but I want to,
you got to build your own.
I want to build my own, you know what I'm saying, and keep building up for the next generation that's coming up in behind me.
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
So then, you know, bearing that in mind, I mean, getting a call or a text from Conway, you know, that leads to drum works and all this. I mean, I know you told it a million times, but make it 1,000,001 for me, man.
Yeah, nah, for sure. Like, so it was crazy. It was during, you know, the pandemic, obviously.
Were you down? Were you struggling during that?
Oh, like it was tough. It was definitely a tough time. I mean, I was coming from working a 9 to 5.
Yeah.
So, you know, a lot of people, they got unemployment. I was one of those people too. So, you know, I was at home just kind of figuring it out because I wasn't making as much as I was, you know, working my regular job, which was the case for a lot of people. So I feel like in that time period, a lot of people found ways to make money outside of, you know, what they were getting from unemployment. And I was also one of those people. So I was painting, you know what I mean? I was doing music. I was doing my brand, Brown Out Black Live Your Creed. I was doing that. So I was like selling denim jackets and t-shirts and hats to people. And that was kind of just, you know, helping me out, you know, in terms of just making what I needed to make every month just to pay my bills on top of the unemployment. But yeah, so, you know, it was one day, random day, I was at home. I had just saw that Conway was thinking about starting up like a label. I forget where I saw that, but he had reached out to me on Facebook Messenger and he's like, yo, I think it's time. And I'm like, what's good? Because I used to always see Conway at the place I worked at. Like I said, it's a sneaker store. I would always see him there. And, you know, he would always come in, he would cop kicks. Yo, we got to get in that studio. But me and him would never link up. So it was like, all right, like, you know, so I'm thinking like when he hit me up, I'm thinking like, yo, pull up to the studio. I thought that was what he was going to say. Yo, I got a track for you, or yo, you hear me on something, bring it to the studio. Let's get it done. And I'm like, what's good? Because, you know, at this point, I'm like a huge Conway fan, but I would never see Conway anymore. Like, because, you know, busy. At this point, he was busy. He was like, you know, this was right before he dropped From King to a God. Yeah. So, you know, he was like on that verge of becoming like one of those, you know, household names. Yeah. And, you know, he reached out, like I said, yo, I think it's time. And I'm like, what's good? Da, 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 da. He's like, yo, you one of the dopest in the city. You know, I'm thinking about starting up this label. Like, what's good? I'm thinking about pushing you. I'm like, I look at my phone. I'm like, yo, this is crazy.
I thought you meant a track.
Yeah, man. I'm thinking you meant a track or, you know what I'm saying? I didn't know what to expect, but I wasn't expecting this. And this was right after, I'm talking about, I ended up leaving my job. I like resigned from my position on like a Friday. And he hit me up on like that Sunday, like literally. So, you know, during that whole week when I was trying to make a decision on whether or not I was going to leave this job, because, you know, it was a lot of stuff tied in with like COVID.
Yeah.
And you know, it was
crazy
a lot. It was
days,
a lot. Yeah, it was a lot of crazy stuff going on. But I was trying to make my decision on it. And I was just asking God, like, yo, just give me some type of sign or, you know, what should I do? Should I, you know, and it was just like, something in me just kept telling me, yo, take a leap of faith. Yeah. And when I left, it was like, all right, now what am I doing? What's my next step? And then, you know, the 2 days later, that's when Conway reached out. It was like, man, that was really like a leap of faith that I had to take and, you know, kind of trusting God and, you know, getting me to my next step. Because one thing that I've learned is that, you know, with being uncomfortable, that's when you grow.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
That's a hard one to learn too.
Yeah,
man.
it's a tough one to learn. And so my biggest thing was you know, from the time I was probably 20 up until I was 30, was if I didn't have a job, how was I gonna figure out life? How was I gonna figure out, you know, how to pay my bills and how to take care of my car note and how to do this and how to do that? If I don't have a job, I don't like, how am I making money?
Right.
And especially now, like with my daughter, you know what I'm saying? She was, I think, 3 years old at the time. So
it even makes it even more scary.
yeah, it's scary, man. But, you know, but again, when you take that leap of faith, it's like God is going to make a way for you. So again, it was like putting myself in that uncomfortable position and taking that leap of faith kind of put me in the position that I'm in now.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I do.
But it was just like, I couldn't see it in the moment, but I knew that was what I needed to do.
That takes resilience, man.
For sure.
Today's episode of Why Music Matters is sponsored by Buffalo Spree magazine. From the start, Buffalo Spree has been a champion of Western New York's arts community, with every issue showcasing the best of Western New York. What's on stage, on view, in the clubs, and in the concert halls. Pick up the latest issue to get a closer look, or visit buffalospree.com. And I know, you know, from that time, then he got real busy, right? So these things take a while. And then, you know, in your mind, like I've been through this before in the 90s, right? We're interested in your band, you know. And then it, you know, was this just talk over drinks? When then it becomes a thing. But correct me if I'm wrong. I think there's a story that there was going to be something in New York and you were like, I just feel like I better be there. Like, and this turned out to be, you talking about taking a leap of faith.
Yeah.
But like, you got yourself there, and because of that, I know like there were folks from Tidal. I mean, all this stuff started happening for you, where if you had maybe been like rational mind, I can't afford that. I don't even know if he's going to be there or whatever. But you did it, right? Can you talk about that?
Yeah. So
and this is inspiration. To
yeah, for
people
sure. So this was it was like the first time I had been really in the studio with Conway.
Yeah.
So who I'm with today, my man Chad, he hits me up and he's like, yo, Con is gonna be in New York. He wants you to pull up if you can get there. And I'm like, if you can get there, I know what that means. Like, so it's like, I'm like, all right, when are y'all gonna be there? He's like, yo, we're here now. So like, I would say get here as soon as you can. Right. So, all right, cool. So, you know, I jump in my truck like the next morning, shoot down in New York again. I don't know why I'm going. I don't know
what's gonna happen.
I'm like, man, let me just get there. So I jump in my truck, head down. You know, I get an address. We pull up, or I pull up, and it's, you know, it's a studio there. We're like in Manhattan on like the 5th floor. It's got like a crazy view of the city once you get into the actual studio.
Is this cutting room?
Cutting room. Yep. Yep. Oh, the old cutting room. Though. Yep. Because I think they moved or whatever. So they're in a different building now, but still a dope studio. But this one was just different because you had that view of like everything out there. You got there's all type of plaques in there. Like I saw a most deft plaque and I think a plaque for Shrek. I'm like, yo, where am I even at right now? And so, you know, pull up. You know, I'm chilling in the studio. This is, you know, Conway got all his chains on and. You know, he's listening to beats from a crazy producer that, you know, a very reputable producer. And so my mind is blown at first, you know what I mean? Because I had never been in a studio like this before. Right. I had never, you know, been in New York in a studio with, you know what I'm saying? Like somebody that's in the game. So it was crazy. A hero
of yours too, man.
Yeah, right, I mean, right. On top of all that, you know what I mean? Like Con is, you know, where he grew up at is 5 minutes from where I grew up at. So,
huge.
You know, it's dope to kind of be in that space with him. And you know, he was playing some of his album. This was earlier in the day. And then he's like, yo, he had recorded something. And he's like, yo, you got something you working on? If so, go record. I go, you know, record a few joints or whatever. I think I did 2 tracks that day. I laid down 2 joints. And then later on that day, like you said, you know, the who's started pulling up, you know, DJ K Slay, B Dot, and you know, Johnny Shipes and, you know, all these different cats that like I've seen on like music blogs and heard stories about and mentioned
now
on
you're
songs.
In the room, you know?
Yeah, they're like literally right here in front of me. I'm like, yo, my mind is blown. And, you know, he plays his album, you know what I'm saying? God Don't Make Mistakes is what he was playing for them, or, you know, what it was going to sound like. Because at this point, this was like 2 years before it dropped, or maybe a year and a half. But Then he's like, yo, play them joints that, Skeese did earlier. And, he's playing the music. I'm like, man, this is crazy. Like, so, and, they're actively hearing this stuff that I just, and these are the who's.
Were you just freestyling over beats? Is that how
Nah,
it
it wasn't
or
even
stuff you
freestyling.
had?
It was like songs that like I really wrote.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like in the moment. And a few of these songs they ended up on my first album.
Crazy, dude.
So it was like pretty crazy to kind of be in that moment, because it was like, damn, like I would have never thought just up and going I would have been in front of some of these people, like them putting ears on what I just recorded. You know what I mean? Like that was pretty crazy. So that was like that first New York experience, and I thought I was gonna be there for like at most maybe 2 days. I ended up staying for like a week. I was down there recording and running around with Con, meeting people, and it was a dope experience. But it felt like me making that move was something that I had to do, because it kind of showed him also how serious I was.
That's right.
Because at this point I wasn't signed. It was like more so a thing where I was just, I was around. I was like trying to get him to be interested in signing me, I guess. I think he already had interest, but it's also not a thing where you get signed off talent a lot.
Right.
You gotta be willing to go the extra mile.
You do.
You know what I'm saying? As an artist, because like the talent, that's one thing, but if you're not willing to put in any work with the talent, it's kind of pointless to get in a situation.
A lot of talented people out there, man. Yeah.
That's a fact. Everybody's dope. Everybody is dope, but it's not about being dope. It's about how far you're willing to go sometimes to further yourself in your career.
Yeah, I'm glad you did it, man. But moral of the story for people listening, and to take inspiration from, take that chance. Show up there. Because they're not going to come knock on your door here necessarily, right?
At all.
So speaking of inspiration, I know while you were doing this kind of promotional run,
mm-hmm.
you did a masterclass here in Buffalo at Villa Maria. And, mentorship, in my experience in Buffalo, that makes it different from a lot of other music scenes, is a level of mentorship here. I saw it with my own son. When we start playing, everybody supports. You know what I mean? Like Jerry Livingston would support my son. When he was starting, the people come out. Yeah, and you're carrying that. I know Conway cares about Buffalo, made that plain
for sure.
But you're doing that, man. We're grateful for that. But can you talk about that experience a little bit? Yeah,
it was so I went last week, Tuesday, and spoke at Villa Maria College.
It's gotta feel good in your hometown, man.
Man, that was super dope. I'm not gonna lie, like that was like a one-of-one experience, because being the 13, 14-year-old kid that put out his first demo, 20 years ago, I would have never thought like, I would be at a college talking about what I've been doing since I was, 12 years old. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like it almost doesn't add up. But it's cool to be, looked at as someone that could, possibly give some insight to people that are trying to do the same thing that I'm doing now. And it speaks a lot to, that the work that I've put in, the resilience, like you said earlier, just everything that I've had to do to get to where I am today. It speaks a lot to that. Just to even be considered to, go and speak at a college. But like I was saying, went last Tuesday. It was a great experience. I was able to give the students and people in the community that pulled up just, my experience. I was able to give them some advice, just some key things to kind of lock in on that have worked for me. Yeah. And man, overall, just to meet the students and, meet the faculty and, I performed at the end. I did a song for them at the end, so that was super dope.
Special for them, man.
Yeah, man. I'm just grateful for the experience because I've never done anything like that. So to kind of have this new experience under my belt now, it's like, man, I want to do this again, and I want to be looked at as someone that could be a mentor for others, because I never had that. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like everything that I've accomplished really has been like on the go, running gun, figure it out. Okay, this didn't work. Okay, let's go this way. If this didn't work, okay, we'll pivot this way. That's like kind of the way that I've learned over all this time. So, if I can give someone the gems and jewels that I've acquired over time by making mistakes and bumping my head, then, I'm all for it, because that'll help them in the long run.
Definitely. Shout out to Linda Appleby too. Kind of.
Oh yeah, that's my old music teacher.
Yeah, man. Mm-hmm. Godmother of Buffalo music scene.
For sure. Big love to Miss Appleby. She's
a wonderful human. Yeah, man, I'm glad you did that. And I want to ask you, if this is personal, you don't have to answer it, but I'm wondering if, I know you lost your dad young, I'm wondering if music was a force for you to deal with that, if that helped you work through that in your life, that if it's had an effect on now your dad, you know, what that means to you.
So definitely, so my friend I was telling you about, my man Scoop, he lost his pops like right before my dad. So, and I remember one day we were outside actually, and he was, I told him about my dad or whatever passing away and the funeral and everything. He's like, yo, like, he just was giving me some advice on like what helped him get through it. Yeah. And we're like 11, 12 years old right now.
That's a lot, man.
Yeah, it's crazy. And then he's like, yo, like, but music is also something that, really helps me. And then, like I was saying, his uncles, they were around. So it was like when his dad passed away, it was like his uncles kind of came around.
They
stepped up and, they were like, like those, that inspiration for him to look to, like, yo, I want to be like them, you know what I'm saying, since I don't have my dad. And so I personally didn't really have that with my family.
Yeah.
So it was like I would always be with him. So it would always like, not always, but it would inspire me seeing that he wanted to be like his uncles.
Yeah.
So music for me, on top of me just, loving to write and put words together and rhyme, like you said, it was like a thing that kind of, it helped me get through it because I saw what my friend was doing.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? What kind of worked for him. So it was always like just a way for me to release, I guess, some of the things that I felt back in the day, and still is. Like a lot of what you hear from me today when I'm recording or putting out music, it's usually my experiences like in the moment, or what I'm going through to get to where I am right now. I don't really rap about like things that I haven't done or things that I haven't experienced. So like a lot of it is like real time.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like even with the whole ground level thing, like starting from the bottom and building up into something or building up into a skyscraper, like that's really where I am in my life, like right now.
That's what the theme of the record feels like, man.
There you go. There you go. So it's for me, again, like even going back to back then, like, I had a song that I wrote for my dad when I was like 12 years old, and I couldn't tell you the lyrics to it today. I haven't heard this song since I recorded it because, the engineer had moved to Atlanta and took all the music. So there's still songs that I haven't heard to this day, but, that's like, just one, I'm not gonna say it like that, but it's always been a thing for me that has just like helped me get through like the tough times.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like in many different ways.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Do you think, just like it's helped you and helped me so much in my life, do you think, speaking of Buffalo as a city, I mean, there's had to be a lot of healing around here. There's a lot of work that still needs to be done. Do you think, us celebrating our own music here could point a way forward for us like that? Could it help us?
I think so. So you mean like from, like the just people in the city just kind of lifting up the artists more?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean anybody would benefit from that because it boosts your confidence.
Yeah.
Especially knowing that, you have your city behind you and the people that are closest to you that could possibly share your experiences and share, everything that you go through in the city.
Yeah.
It's like it's like the ultimate confidence booster because it's like, yo, we from the same place, and it's like you actually like value what I have to say.
Yeah.
That's big, man.
I think it's huge.
That's big. That's like really big. It's like no different than like, the Buffalo Bills going out and playing, and they play in front of however many people, 60,000 people,
and we're all feeling it. Right?
There you go. Because
it's us.
Yeah,
way,
right. It's like
right?
we're like the 12th man, so it's no different. You know what I'm saying, for like an artist that has the support of their city, and hopefully on Thursday when I come out, it's a sold out show, and we just have a good night because again, getting that love from home, it's nothing like that.
There's nothing like that.
It's nothing like that. It's a great feeling.
And we want to send you to New York City and the Mercury Lounge feeling, our love.
There you go.
Our support, so you can represent us out there,
you
too.
Go.
There
you go. For sure.
Amazing, man. So, beyond this, what's coming?
Man, more music, of course. I got more work in the pipeline. I've been cooking up. Salute to my boy Ill Tone Beats. We got like a crazy project that we've been working on. I have some other plans for like 2025 as far as music, and then also just touring.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. Like I want to continue to be on the road. I want to continue to just keep doing these shows, man, and keep adding fans on, you know what I'm saying? Just keep getting them hip to who I am. I did a few shows earlier this year with Marlon Craft on his run, and we went to Hartford, Connecticut, and we went to Philly. And with me kind of stepping outside of like the Griselda kind of ecosystem and doing those shows with somebody that you wouldn't necessarily associate me with, the one thing that I really noticed is that, like, with the interaction from the crowd, like, they didn't have a clue who I was when I stepped on the stage. But by the time I was done, it was like everybody in there either gave me a follow, they came up to me after the show. It was a real good experience because I was put in front of some different fans that normally probably would never, they wouldn't have had a way to hear me.
Yeah.
But they were able to get hip to me that day. And, I just find that it's really, like, being on tour is just really like it's like a one-of-one experience. You know what I'm saying? To connect with a fan. You know what I mean? Because somebody seeing you live and the way that I do it, it's like, man, I'm gonna get new fans every time.
They're gonna feel you.
They're gonna feel me because I got something real to say. I got something dope to say. I got a real message. I got a real story. So I feel like as long as I keep touring, I'm gonna just continue to get new fans every time I go out.
Man, you know that, and we're grateful to you for doing this, man. Last thing I want to ask you, you talked about that being real, that your words, your lyrics, your rhymes reflect your real life, like the life you lived. And a lot of people ask, we've seen it everywhere. A lot of people have asked me, what is the Buffalo sound? What is, and when it comes to hip hop, it's been too easy to go, well, Griselda, man, just listen to that. It's grainy, it's real. How would you describe that? I mean, you're a unique individual, and I'm not trying to put you in with a whole bunch of other people.
Yeah.
But there is a thing from here that has a feeling.
Mm-hmm. I think if I had to describe the sound, it's like authentic, man. Yeah. It's authentic. It's for a long time I feel like Buffalo was slept on, and Buffalo wasn't getting the love that it deserved. People was fronting on us for a long time, man. You know what I'm saying? Especially with us being so far away from New York City.
Yep.
We're not a borough. You know what I'm saying? It's a whole different city. So
they think we're just up here with cows and
there
stuff.
you go. Which is, when you get outside the city, it's kind of true.
Sure.
But, when you're in the city, it's got a certain feel.
Yeah.
But I would say, with the music that's coming out of the city and then some of the people that I hear coming up too, it's just authentic, man. It's authentic to the city. Like, it's funny, when we were on the way here, I was driving, I'm looking up at the sky and just looking at the city because we came down Main Street.
Yeah.
I'm like, yo, this is a Buffalo day.
It is.
If you look outside, like today, it's gray, it's cold, it's windy, and this is like 75% of the year here. And I feel like a lot of the music that I hear kind of reflects that. You know what I'm saying? It's hot. It's
not all rainbows and
cold.
puppies.
Yeah, it ain't all peaches and cream here. But I mean, there are great people here. There's obviously in the summer, you get a taste of everything in Buffalo. You get the summer, you get the winter, you get the fall, you get the spring a little bit. You get everything. Good food. Again, it's good people. It's beautiful men, beautiful women, beautiful kids, beautiful families. Everything, man. You get everything in Buffalo, but I feel like the biggest thing that you take away, I think, from the hip hop is just the authenticity of it. Yeah. When I hear Benny, when I hear Conway, West, when I hear, Love the Genius, when I hear myself, and everybody else coming up, it's like, this is true to the city.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And I feel like it's only going to be a matter of time before, you know, Buffalo is really known for that. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, you got Atlanta, they've been known for like the futuristic trap.
Yep.
New York City is, you know, boom bap and then, you know, drill music now. Chicago is drill music and Kanye
That's all
West and
happening.
Common hip hop. Buffalo is gonna be known for just that authentic, hard, gritty, real sound.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And I want to be one of the leaders in that. And that's what I'm gonna do.
You're doing it, man.
Yes, sir.
And we're grateful to you, man. Thank you, Jay.
Yes, sir.
I wish you the best out there. I hope next time you're in town, we'll do this again. See
For
where
sure.
you're at. Thank you. Thank you too, Nas.
No doubt.
Peace, man.
Peace.